Hey guys, we are back with our Yin Yoga practice for the evening. I'm gonna take a few moments to get settled in and give some people the opportunity to hop in to practice this evening. If you are joining for the first time, please grab your yoga mat, grab some props if you have them. That might be some pillows or blankets, yoga blocks, maybe a strap. And you can always improvise. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can stack books. And if you don't have a yoga bolster, try stacking up some folded blankets or maybe rolling them up to make yourself a bolster if you like to use that for your practice. Go ahead, maybe invite some friends in. Let me know that you're here. Give me some likes or a couple comments. Let me know how you're feeling this evening and what you might be needing to get out of your practice as well. Yin is going to be much slower than the vinyasa class that we did on Monday. This is known as a passive practice. So we have long static holds in Yin Yoga. And we'll probably be holding about 3 minutes or so in each pose, give or take. And then as far as the level of sensation you want to feel, it should feel mild to moderate and more like a dull ache. So nothing painful, no burning, nothing tingling, nothing sharp, anything like that. So if you are experiencing any of those sensations through your practice, please pay attention to that. Make sure you respond appropriately. That's your body's way of letting you know that maybe you're going too deep into a pose and it might be a little better for you to back off a bit. So, I see Sharon's on. Hi Sharon, hi Catherine, thanks for joining. So yeah, mild to moderate sensation should feel like a dull ache. We're holding for time and we're working to be as still as possible in these poses. But of course, once you get into a pose, you're not required to stay there. If you need to make any adjustments, feel free to adjust your body as needed, coming out of the pose when needed, or if you'd like to stay in a pose longer, you're welcome to do that as well. So again, go ahead and get your props set up. Grab some water. If you have any relaxing yoga music that you'd like to have on in the background, I'd recommend getting that set up as well. I've been practicing without any music, in part because of licensing issues. I want to make sure that these videos stay up and available to everyone. So, so put on whatever you like, something that's calming and relaxing to you. We will get started in a few moments. Oh, Kiana's on. Hi, Kiana. Welcome to yoga. So yeah, so tonight's practice is a Yin practice. It's really slow. It's up to you to decide how deep you'd like to take this practice. So it's said that Yin can be like a level 1 up to a level 5. So you can, just take it comfortably up to your edge, but if you want to go a little deeper and that feels appropriate and safe to do so, then, lean in and take it as far as you'd like to go. Regular practice can really help to increase range of motion, flexibility, maintain fluid in the joints, and all sorts of benefits. But it's a really grounding and anchoring practice, and I think many of us are going to benefit from that. So we're going to go ahead and head over onto our mats. So feel free to get yourself set up however you need. Get my bells and such set up over here. And actually, I think I'm going to grab a yoga block as well. So this is a yoga block, and again, if you do not have an actual yoga block, you can always grab a couple of books, maybe a small stack about this width. You could even place a blanket or two over so it's a little softer for you as you're using your block in your practice. So we'll go ahead and get situated on our mats. I'm going to be checking in with my timer to make sure that we're doing equal time on both sides of the body. so that we don't get things out of whack and out of balance. So when you feel ready, I'm going to let you guys decide if you'd like to start seated or if you'd rather lie down. So if you'd like to lie down on your back, just make sure you're comfortable. If you're chilly, have some blankets nearby and just sort of let your arms relax by your sides. Extend your legs out in front of you. If you are choosing to remain seated, if you like to prop yourself up, I typically do, you can grab a little yoga bolster or grab a pillow to sit on and just slide that right underneath your hips so that you can sit up tall and relaxed. So coming into this yin practice with just really open mind, open heart, and gentle energy in the body. So let's spend the first few moments dropping in. Go ahead and allow your eyes to close. And let's start to pay attention to the quality of our breathing. Shifting our breath towards a nice, just gentle, smooth pace. And this would also be a good time to set an intention for your practice. What is it that you are needing or wanting to call in? Today I'm going to choose compassion. And take a moment to notice the ground beneath you, and then notice the air above and around you. So in Yin, we talk a lot about our physical edge, but I want you to also be paying attention to your emotional edge, wherever that might be for you today. And if anything gets to the point that feels too overwhelming and you need to just sort of sit back and take a breath, and make sure you allow yourself that space. So just a few more moments to dial in, tune in. And I often like to begin my practice by just shifting my weight around a little bit. Moving my fingers and my toes, maybe rocking my head side to side or circling it around a bit. And then reaching arms all the way up overhead, taking a full body stretch. And if you're on your back, feel free to hug your knees into your chest. If you're seated, you might like to roll your shoulders a few times. And then go ahead and make your way up to a seat. Again, if you'd like to sit on a pillow, go ahead and grab one to sit on. So we're just going to start with a very gentle neck stretch here. So you can take your right hand, reach it overhead, place it to the side of your head, and then draw your right ear gently down towards your shoulder. Now, if you'd like to extend the sensation down through the arm, you might start to walk your left fingertips out away from your body here. We'll take a few breaths. And go ahead and release the left side of your head, releasing right arm down to the floor. Left arm comes up and over and gently presses the right side down, bringing left ear towards your left shoulder. And then very gently go ahead and release. We can remove that pillow, if we have one, from underneath of us. And make our way onto our hands and knees. So we can gently come into a toe stretch. So you want to tuck your toes under and then allow your weight to lower towards your heels. Now, if it's available to you and not too uncomfortable, what you can do is actually sit upright and allow all the weight to drop towards the heels. But if that turns out to be a bit too much, then go ahead and keep your hands on the ground. And when you're ready, go ahead, lift those hips up, release the tops of the toes. You might press them down into the mat or tap out the tops of the feet. We're starting off today in child's pose. So you might decide to keep the knees a little wider and the toes together. Some of you may prefer to keep the knees together. So that really is a personal preference. So let's get our timer set here. So bringing hips all the way back towards the heels. You can reach your arms out in front of you if you'd like and bring your forehead to the floor. Sometimes I like to bring my arms down by my sides and head to floor. We're just settling in very gently. So let's add the option here of threading the needle. Now, if you'd prefer to not thread the needle, you can stay exactly as you are. Otherwise, keep your right arm extended out in front of you and send your left arm underneath the right, reaching out towards the side of the room, and let your left ear fall towards the ground. And we're going to do the same thing in reverse. So press yourself up momentarily, extend your left arm out in front of you, and then thread the right arm under the left. bringing your right ear down towards the ground. And we'll slowly press ourselves up. Let's lift our hips away from our heels, coming back to tabletop, and maybe spend a few moments simply rocking your hips side to side, or perhaps making some small hip circles. All right, so moving towards swan pose, also known as pigeon. So from tabletop, let's draw the right knee towards the right wrist, and then we can either keep our heel sort of directly underneath the right thigh, or we can cross it over towards the left hip and then begin to knee toe that left leg back. Now, if you have a blanket or a block and you would like a little bit of support, you're welcome to slide it underneath of the right hip. You can also actually just roll and sort of rest on that right hip. We practice a little bit differently in Yin than we would do a Yang style class. So it is totally okay to roll towards that side and then maybe even pull that back knee forward a little bit. So just set up in any way that feels most beneficial to your body at the moment. And then you have the option to either stay up on the hands or begin to lower your head and chest towards the mat. Maybe stacking a couple of fists to rest your head on, or sliding a block underneath your forehead. Again, whatever feels most sustainable to you. And just every so often, check in with your body. Just assess where you're at. If you need to make any shifts or changes, back off a little or lean in a little. Let's take one more breath. And go ahead and start to lift yourself upwards, leaning into the right hip and then taking the back leg, swinging it around out in front of you so that you have your left knee bent and you have your, left leg extended and right knee bent. So we're coming into a half butterfly pose. And we'll begin to just gently hinge ourselves forward over top of that left leg. And setting our timer now. And just invite yourself to notice where you are experiencing sensation in your body. Noticing your willingness to receive it versus any resistance you might have. And we'll take one more deep belly breath here. And begin to rise up towards the seat. We'll draw that left heel in and transition into butterfly pose. And then we'll take it from the top, beginning with pigeon on the other side. So sitting comfortably here, rather than pulling the heels all the way in, maybe try taking them a little further out so you create a diamond shape in the empty space between your heels and the rest of your body. And then again, we can simply allow ourselves to fold forward. And for the sake of yin, it's totally fine to have some rounding through the back as long as it feels comfortable and sustainable to you. And if you have a block or have a pillow, sometimes I like to stack a block on top of my feet and then rest my head on top. And we're about halfway through, so if you'd like to assess and maybe feel as to whether going a little more deeply would be appropriate, or backing off, or simply holding where you are. And one more breath, one more moment. Let's press our palms or hands into the ground to help lift ourselves up nice and slowly. And you can bring hands to the outsides of your knees and draw the knees together. Maybe just sit for a moment, lean back on the hands. And then as you'd like, feel free to rock your knees side to side. All right, so beginning from the top, let's move back towards table. And we'll take swan on the left side. So left knee draws forward towards the left wrist. And remember, you can keep the heel where it is and just sort of knee toe that right leg back and sit on the heel. You could choose to cross the heel towards the right hip. You might decide to sort of roll and rest on that left hip. Maybe slide a block or blanket underneath. And if you need to adjust that back leg at all, feel free to pull that back knee forward. So again, setting up in a way that feels tolerable and sustainable for this side of your body. And then always with the option to lower down towards elbows, or perhaps bring your head to the mat or a pillow or block. And again, we'll take one more deep breath. Slowly lifting ourselves upright, leaning into that left side to very gently bring that right leg around out in front of us as we set up for half butterfly on this side of the body. So once you feel ready, go ahead and take a breath and then gently allow yourself to fold down over the right leg. And again, we're a little more than halfway through, so take a moment, check in, take a deep breath, and notice where you're at. And we inhale deeply and exhale out. And let's start to lift ourselves up once again, extending that left leg out for a moment, and then maybe bounce out the knees slightly. So opening up the chest and shoulders a bit, go ahead and bend your knees, placing the soles of your feet flat on the ground, and then hands are behind you. You can point the fingertips backwards, and little by little, we begin to walk the hands as far back as we can until we feel the stretch across the shoulder, front of the shoulder, down the arms. And you're welcome to keep your gaze forward. However, if you'd like to, and it doesn't cause any pain or extreme discomfort, feel free to drop your head back. And this one we're not in for quite as long. So when you feel ready, you can start to walk your hands towards your body once again. And then take your hands, flip them upside down so the palms face upwards. The fingertips still point back, but we can stretch out the tops of the wrists a little bit here. And then you might even like to shake out the hands a little bit, maybe circle them around. Wiggle the fingers around a bit. So if you have a block or have a few blankets you can fold up or roll together, or maybe have a couple of pillows, but something that's a little bit firm so we can set up for fish pose, supported fish. So we're lying down on our backs. You want to make sure that when you lie down, whatever support you are using, whether it be a block or some rolled up blankets, they should land right between the shoulder blades, so the kind of middle of the upper back. And you might decide to have a pillow to support the back of the head. However, if you don't need it, you can simply rest the top of the head, or back of the head rather, on the ground. And then as far as the legs go, you have the option to keep your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. You could extend your legs straight out in front of you, or even come back into butterfly with the soles of the feet pressed together and the knees open wide. Sometimes when I'm here, I even like to extend my arms either overhead or out to the sides. It really helps to create some nice space across my chest. This is one of those poses where I sometimes need to consciously relax my body more. I have a tendency sometimes to contract and kind of pull my shoulders up or my arms in. So maybe give your body a brief scan and notice if there's anywhere you are holding back and where you can release more deeply. And take one really deep breath, feeling your whole belly and chest expand outwardly. And then exhale deeply. Now if you have your legs out extended in front of you or the knees wide, let's place soles of the feet on the mat. And we can use elbows and arms to help gently lift us up just enough to slide the block or blankets or pillows out from underneath of us. And we're finishing up in a twist. It'll be a shorter twist. So let's open the arms wide. Now I often like to wrap my left leg around my right and then drop my knees to the right side. However, you also have the option to simply stack the knees if that feels more comfortable. Just balancing out our spines for a short time after that heart opener. And let's use our next inhale to lift our knees up out of our twist. Unwrap the legs if they are wrapped. Briefly hug your knees into your chest. And then feet lower back to the mat. If you are wrapping the legs, the opposite leg wraps around, and then knees will lower to our left. Get the timer set again. And the next inhale brings the knees back up. We can exhale, hugging the knees into the chest, maybe rocking along the spine as well for a moment. And beginning to set up for your final resting pose using any support or props you might like, grabbing blankets, pillows, extending legs out in front of you, arms relaxed by your sides. Let's go ahead and close the eyes. And take a deep inhale through your nose, and then exhale gently out through your mouth. go ahead and begin to create some gentle movement in the body, bringing awareness back to the present moment, the space around you. Allowing that breath to grow slightly deeper. Making some movement in the hands, feet, and head. And then when you're ready, go ahead, roll to one side, take a breath, and gently press yourself upwards towards a seat, placing your palms together at your heart in Anjali Mudra to seal your practice. And we'll restate our intention, calling in whatever it is that we are in need of currently. Go ahead and bow your head to your heart in gratitude for your practice and time on your mat today, for taking this opportunity to care for yourself. May we all know love. May we all know peace. May we all know kindness. And may these things always flow to and from us. Namaste. All right, well, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Sharon, for being a participant in practice today. And then anyone else who is practicing along with the replays, I hope you enjoy. If you'd like to make a donation for today's practice, there is a link at the bottom of the screen. So feel free to donate whatever feels acceptable to you. I will be back tomorrow at noon for some more flower card readings. So I hope you will tune in with me then. And then Friday will be all level yoga practice. Same time, 5:30 here on the Bloomin' Witch. So please join me then. And until I see you all next, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will see you soon. Bye.